Hello, everyone. This is Dave Warner with Small Town Life, part of the Studio 25 podcast network. And today we've got Judge Candace Randall in here, who's running for office. And we're just talking about what that's like. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Dave.
So I always start out with, I want people to know a little bit about who you are, like where you grew up and what you experienced growing up. So tell me about that first.
Sure. So I actually was born in Walla Walla, Washington. My dad...
Say that 3 times real fast.
I know, right? There's a Bugs Bunny cartoon where he says Walla Walla, Washington, and I think a witch appears. So whenever I have to say that, I always think of that cartoon.
Think of Bugs Bunny.
Yes.
Okay, all right, good.
So my dad was military. My mom and dad are both from Jefferson County. And so I was born out in Walla Walla, Washington, spent several of my early years kind of moving around, just the way the military is. I lived in Germany at 2 separate...
Was he Air Force or?
No, Army.
Army, okay, all right.
Yep. So spent some time over in Germany. And then when we came back, we were in Potsdam for a little bit. My dad taught ROTC at Clarkson, where he had graduated from. And then we finally settled in Jefferson County, where my parents have had their house for forever. So grew up Jefferson County, went to South Jeff, then I went to Clarkson University. During that time when I was deciding, when I was a senior, where to go, my dad was actually deployed. So when the towers fell on 9/11, he was activated again and spent some time over in Iraq for Operation Iraqi Freedom. So I decided to go to Clarkson, like my dad. I studied business and technology management, so I have a bachelor's of science from Clarkson. I joined a professional law fraternity or business fraternity while I was at Clarkson. I was on the crew team. Not anything I had ever done before, but having played soccer, volleyball, and softball for a million years, I had kind of decided, you're burnt out. Try something new. So I said, I've always wanted to do this. So I was on the crew team. I ended up having to have some foot surgeries, and then I helped coach the crew team for a little bit. I studied abroad in college. I went to France. I do not speak French. I actually took German in high school and Spanish my last year as well. And then for some reason decided to throw myself into a country where I didn't speak the language. I just like to make things harder for myself, I think. But had a great time, learned a lot, came back, graduated early from Clarkson. I had a minor in pre-law. Knew I always wanted to go to law school. I've been...
How did you figure that out? Because, as a child, being a dependent of military parents and having to move around is different than just a regular kid where maybe there's this track where you end up with dreams and I want to be a fireman, I want to be a policeman, I want to be a lawyer, whatever it is. How do you think that impact of moving around and having that different environment, how did you still say, I want to be a lawyer?
Well, ever since I remember this, I was in 3rd grade, and it was a, what do you want to be when you grow up type thing. And I was like, well, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be the president of the United States. And for some reason at that time, I thought you had to be a lawyer to do that. Obviously you don't. Anyone could do it. But when I was in 4th grade, we did this trial. My teacher was really cool. Her name was
like
Mrs. Spinelli.
Trial?
Yes.
Okay.
We did a mock trial on Jack and the Beanstalk, and I defended Jack to see if he actually murdered the giant. And I loved it.
In 4th grade?
Yes.
This is hardcore.
She was an awesome teacher. But I absolutely loved it. And I was like, I don't want to be the president anymore. Actually, I think I want to sit on the Supreme Court. So ever since then, I really just loved everything about studying law, learning more about it, learning more about civics and the whole process. It really just interested me. But I thought, man, if I don't get into law school or if I don't pass the bar, I have to have something to fall back on. And so that's why I decided to go to Clarkson because I always thought I'll have a great degree And if if I can't achieve my dreams, I'll be able to kind of fall back on something else.
Business and technology. That's
Yes.
a good one to have, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I did actually work at Lockheed Martin for a few summers, I think sophomore summer, junior summer into senior year. And then I worked for Lockheed for the 9 months between when I graduated and started law school.
Oh, wow.
So I had a great experience there. I worked in their contract department. I really enjoy reading, which is great for being an attorney.
A lot of reading involved, right?
There's a ton of reading involved, but I just really enjoyed it. And I just thought, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm on this path. And always, I think in the back of my head was, if I want to achieve this goal, I need to make sure I hit certain standards. I want to make sure that I'm doing the best I can do to be able to get into law school. And then from there, have the skills to be able to study to then pass the bar. And no one tells you need different skills to study law. So you may be the smartest person in the world, but if you can't really think outside the box, it is extremely hard. So you have to basically relearn how to take a test. What's this question asking for? So it was a lot of work going through law school to be able to come out the other side and, take the bar, study, pass it, and then practice.
I mean, I was going to ask you, what was the hardest part of law school? Was there not just that you have to think outside the box, but was there anything specific that you were like, oh my God, I never thought of this?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, it was very hard. I went to law school down in Houston, Texas. So I was very far away from my family. Right. Hook 'em horns. I see that.
You see that. Sorry, I had to get it in.
That's all right.
I didn't wear it intentionally. I didn't know.
Yeah, so I went down to Texas Southern. It was the most diverse law school at the time because I wanted to practice international law. And I really enjoyed I wanted to also immerse myself in other cultures. Growing up in upstate New York and going to Clarkson University, we didn't really have a lot of diversity. So I thought, if I'm going to travel abroad and have a job abroad and want to do international law, I really need to learn more about people who live here that are different from me. So that's why I chose Texas Southern. I was one of 10 white students in the law school. So much more different, obviously a totally different experience than going somewhere where I probably would have I don't want to say fit in, but just assimilated.
It would have been like everybody else.
Yeah, everybody else. So it was a great experience to have, just going down there and learning about it. But the hardest part was being so far away from home.
Yeah.
I'd been on my own when I lived in France. So I was, and you're on your own in college, right? But I was only an hour and a half from home.
Yeah.
From Clarkson. So
and Texas is like a whole other country.
It is. Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
I talked too fast. I expected things to be done faster than they should be. I will never forget, I was talking to, I'd met a group of friends and I was talking to them and this guy said, I'm fixing to do this. And I was like, is it broken? I had never heard fixin' to before.
Y'all don't know anything up here.
I know. So, and I was saying you guys and
no, that's a damn Yankee thing there. You
know.
guys. Oh my God. I can't believe you did that.
I know.
You didn't get the brochure when you crossed the state line?
I should have. I didn't stop at the Welcome Center, apparently. But it was just certain things. It was just like, okay, I went to make sure the admissions office on the main campus had all the information. I didn't need to give them anything. And I ended up having to get something certified from them. So I order it and, I fill out a sheet or whatever and you wait in line. I give it to the lady and it's just like a print. They just need to print it and hand it to me. And she's like, you'll need to come back in a week. And I was like, what do you mean? I need to come back in a week to get it. So it's right there. You just printed it. It's right there. She's like, where are you from?
Darling.
Yes.
You need
she needed
to talk to the head.
I needed to calm down.
Calm down.
Because things didn't happen that fast. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to make it. I'm used to just not expecting people to do things, but just a quicker pace of life. So I had to learn things are a little bit slower down here. Things will get done, but it will take more time than I want it to.
That's really weird because I lived there 37 years. I didn't feel like it was slower. I feel it's slower up here. And you're not the first person that said that everybody up here talks faster and whatever. And I'm trying to think it through going, is that true? Is that how I felt when I came up here, 18 years ago, that everybody was talking too fast? I think things overall get done down there faster than up here. Like if you want a new road, if you blink down there, the road's done. Up here, it's like we're still fixing to.
Right. That makes me laugh because they just put out a notice in Jefferson County. They're actually tearing up a road they just paved, and they have to repave the whole thing.
Oh, jeez.
So
bad judge.
I know. It wasn't me. I didn't do it, but I had to learn like a different way of just living and having it be okay to have a couple of days for somebody to get back to you in administration or on the campus, and just a different way of learning. Yeah. But then in class, it was a bunch of reading, which I was okay with. I love reading, but certain topics sometimes were just a little bit harder because they weren't common sense. So like tax law, for example.
Yeah, well, everybody will agree with you there. There's no common sense in that.
There was no common sense. So it was a lot of just, memorization and learning different techniques on how to memorize certain things. And of course, you have all these classes and all the teachers are throwing about like 3 hours of homework at you every night. So it's just more like time management and learning how to do things, just not faster, but be more efficient with your time, and you're going from being your senior year where you have all this time with your friends to getting basically put back at square one and inundated with homework. The good part was obviously people were paying good money to go to law school and they all really wanted to be there, which is a little bit different sometimes than your undergraduate degree.
Right.
And it was just, you had a core group, everyone studied together. You might be together, but you don't talk, right? You go to the library and you sit across from each other, but you don't talk. Yeah. You're all doing homework.
Y'all are doing homework over there.
Yeah, y'all over there. But it was just a different way of just kind of living and thinking that really you got to learn. And if you didn't learn and you thought you could still go out and party every night or not do your homework, you curve out your first year. So a certain amount of people aren't asked to come back. And that was, going into it, obviously very scary because you don't know how smart everyone else in that class is. You might be smart, but they could be smarter.
A lot smarter, yeah.
So that was just like getting your feet underneath you the first year, which I had a great group of friends, and they all made fun of me because of the way I talked. But I started saying y'all and fixing to.
Yeah, you
do. Watching college football, which we don't really do. I never did too much.
Aggies are kind of strong down there in Houston.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
When they have the rings. I had to learn so much about just even college culture down there for undergraduate.
People don't understand it. It's like hardcore.
Oh, yes.
Really.
Yeah. Oh, it's very
in
intense.
high school down there.
Oh, yes.
The high schools are like colleges up here.
Yes, people go to high school games. They don't have kids there. They're just members of the community.
They'll have 30,000 people at a high school game easily.
It's intense.
Yeah.
I lived in Lufkin for a little bit. So
Lufkin's awesome.
Yeah. Sam Houston,
Yeah.
I think high school is there. So and maybe college, when I moved down there for just a little bit before law school started, I was thrown into that too. Like all of the people who worked in the facility were really big into high school and college, the junior college, I think that was there. And I was like, this is so odd. We don't get,
we don't get that excited about it.
More than adults to show up at, the high school football games.
Yeah.
And, some members of the community, but it was just, different way. And you just kind of have to embrace it while you're there.
It's a lot of fun, actually, I think. But, yeah.
I went to my first rodeo in Houston, too.
Awesome. Oh, the Houston rodeo?
Oh, yeah.
That is an awesome experience.
It is amazing.
My daughter's living in Houston right now, so her husband, and it was just recently, because they sent me pictures from the rodeo. So that's an experience.
Yes. The sheep, mutton busting, where kids ride the sheep. I was like, what's happening over there? Because they do a concert at night, right? So big names come in and they play after the rodeo. But during it, I was like, I've heard of a rodeo, but I've never gone.
Yeah.
So it was so much fun. And we made the mistake. We told our property teacher, we had 8 a.m. class, we had property. And we had told her the class before that we all had tickets to the rodeo, which was dumb because all she did was call on us the next day to answer all the questions because she thought we were not going to be prepared. But we were nerds and we already had our homework done because we knew.
Before you went to the rodeo.
Yeah, we knew we had to have everything done beforehand. And it was just so much fun. Again, like, new way of life down there.
You learned a lot down there.
I did. The bugs are very big. I did not like the bugs. That was the only thing.
All kinds of bugs.
Yeah.
Rattlesnakes, everything. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Oh gosh, I feel like I remember I will never forget this.
I thought you were a farm girl.
I am, but listen, we don't have cockroaches up here.
No, you could ride like a mutton race.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have big like wood roaches down there.
Yep.
And I remember.
And they fly.
Yes. And they're scary. I had one in my apartment.
This is funny.
It came down the chimney. So this was when I lived by myself in Lufkin. And I thought the flue was shut. And I even had maintenance come in and check. And all of a sudden, I came home one day from work. Again, I'm by myself. And there was this huge wood roach in my bathroom, like just on the wall. It was so big. I don't even know. This isn't a fish story. I'm not exaggerating. It was so big.
This big.
And I was like, what do I do? So I shut the bathroom door and I was like, well, that's not going to work. I'm
It
probably
kinda
going
come underneath it.
Well, and I'm probably going to need to go in there at some point in time. So I ended up going into the drain in the tub. And I plugged it and I was like, well, that will never be opened again. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but like I had maintenance come over.
Squirrel bath out of the sink.
I guess. They checked again. They were like, oh no, your flue was open. I was like, you guys can't.
Oh, jeez.
They're like, that's how it probably came in. Like, they're telling me it's harmless and, I'm just
laughing as soon as they go outside.
I'm some dumb Yankee from upstate and I've never seen it before. And they're like, aren't you from New York? I was like, not the city.
But that's all anybody knows down there. If you say New York, they don't know the rest of New York State. No,
the more beautiful part, I would argue, of New York State. But yeah, that was scary. So there were bugs, and I decided my last year of law school, I said, I'm going to give Texas 3 years. And if I like it, and one of the bigger firms down there wants to headhunt me, I'll probably stay. And I had gone to I studied abroad in law school as well. I worked for the Department of Public Prosecutions, which is like the DA equivalent in Dublin for summer.
Interesting.
Really cool. That's where I learned I did not like criminal law. I was in the rape policy unit, and I was like, okay, this is not for me. I will not be doing that. So when I came back, I was like, well, if I want to stay in Texas. They have a lot of oil companies. I could definitely still do international law through one of these companies. So my last year of law school, my grandfather actually passed away. And to get back home was just a mess. The bereavement rate for the airline tickets was more than what I could find. So it was just a hot mess.
It's not a good deal for you.
No, not for anybody.
No.
So I was like, this is too far away. So I came back to New York. I decided my last year, I'm not going to take oil and gas, because you had to take oil and gas if you were going to take the Texas bar. And I was like, you know what? I'm not taking Texas. I'm going to go back to New York. I'm going to apply for my advanced law degree somewhere in international law. And that's what I'm going to do. So I came back to New York. You study for the bar for almost 3 months. They torture you during this 3-month time period. I was driving from Jefferson County to Syracuse every day for their bar prep program. And so, hour in the car one way every day. And I really was like, I got to make this work. I need to pass the bar the first time because I want to hit all these goals. And meanwhile, I had gotten into American University for my advanced law degree in international law. They accept 10 people into this program every year. And I'm trying to find housing in DC and study for the bar. And, you're stressed out and you have no money because you're not working. And I'm driving 2 hours every day in the car. And I was like, okay, I'm going to put that on hold. I'm going to wait list myself for this program because there's no way I can prepare to move in August right after having just taken the bar. Like, I'll have done nothing. I looked for housing for like 3 weeks and there's nothing. So I was like, I'll just wait list myself. So I did that, took the bar. They then torture you more because you don't find out. You take it at the end of July and you don't find out until October if you pass or not.
Oh, my God.
So in that limbo period, I needed obviously to like have a job.
Yeah.
So my mom is a teacher. She had taught at Indian River, which is a very big school up in Jefferson County by Fort Drum. And she was like, well, why don't you just be a substitute teacher? She's like, you already had your fingerprints done because you have to do certain stuff for the bar. And I was like, oh, great idea. So I went in and interviewed and I got put on the list. And at the time they were making $100 a day, which is not bad for someone who has no other job.
No money. $100 works.
Yeah. So I started substitute teaching and I was like, definitely not an elementary school teacher. They put me a lot in the high school in language classes because I had gone to France. I had studied Spanish and German, which I didn't mind. I enjoyed those classes. I enjoyed substitute teaching. I definitely knew elementary was not for me. I did one elementary PE class. Not for me. My husband is a PE teacher.
Oh, geez.
And so he was trying to give me some tips before I went that day. And he was like, if all else fails, just turn on the music and have the kids dance. Like, they'll at least get some exercise. Like, you know, he's like, whatever the lessons
Is
plans
it the
are.
fact that you can't corral them? It's like cats just running loose?
Yes, they're just everywhere, and they don't listen.
They're everywhere.
They're just everywhere. They weren't listening.
Someman you have 4 of them running around yourself.
Do, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
so you've contributed to that cat population.
I did at Copenhagen. I know. I'm so sorry. But it was just like, oh gosh, this is not for me. So I had learned I passed the bar, and then I was trying to get with local attorneys to see if they would let me even like come to court with them, which is kind of odd, calling around and just like trying to put yourself out there to get somebody to.
Yeah, just past the bar. Can I sit next to you?
Yeah, can I come to court with you?
Yeah.
So I had this really nice lady, Sue Sovey. She's since passed away. She did a lot of attorney for child work, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, yes." And I was like, you know, I can write memos for you. I can do research for you, like whatever you need. Basically, if you need me, I will come that day. So if I didn't get called in to substitute, or if she wanted me to come to court with her, I would. So I would just go to her office and we would go together. She was such a nice lady. And after a little while, I was like, I don't think this is for me. You know, the things that you hear in court with children, I was like, I'm going to become a vigilante, or I'm going to have 50 kids living at my house. Like, I don't know how you do this, but I know that this type of work is not for me.
Did she say how she was able to cope?
She just said, you know, I've been doing this for a long time, and I just have to believe that the court system is doing what's best for these kids. And I was like, okay, I get that 100%, but it's not for me, because I'm going to be worried every night, you know, about all these kids that she was the attorney for. And she's like, you know, I'm doing my best I can do, and I have to believe that the system is doing the best for these kids. So I was like, okay, I told her, I was like, this is not for me. I will continue to keep helping you. I'll go to court with you, but like, I have to find something else. And she was like, I'm glad you know that. Knowing what you don't want to do is very important in law, because you can get caught up and then you just don't care. So I decided, she had introduced me to another attorney who said, oh, hey, there's this attorney in Lowville that is looking for an associate because he may or may not be getting all this bank work. And I was like, oh, awesome. I get to sit behind a desk and read. I'm in. I can do that. I love that.
Yeah.
So he had told me who to call, and then I had found out later, I think a day later, that he didn't end up getting the bank work, this attorney. So I was like, oh, I won't bother him then, because he probably won't need anybody. So I ran into this attorney who had told me about the Lavo law office at a cheese store, which is very, you know, northern New York. I had gone into this store. My mom had called me and said, hey, if you're in Watertown, can you stop at the cheese store and grab some Krogan bologna and cheese curd? Okay.
We know about cheese at Little Falls, by the way. You know that, right? Yeah.
So I go into the cheese store, and this attorney's there, and he's like, hey, did you call Tom Campany yet? And I said, well, I didn't, because I heard he didn't get that work, and I didn't want to bother him. He said, no, you're going to call him. You're going to call him right now. And I was like, oh, jeepers. Like, yeah. I was surprised the guy even had recognized me, quite honestly. So I was like, okay, whatever. I went out to my car and I called him, and I just said, you know, I heard you might be looking for an attorney. I know I have passed the bar, but I don't get sworn in. They torture you more. You don't get sworn in for several more months. So I said,
why is that?
I don't know. I think, again, it's the torture maybe part of it that they like, but it is extremely frustrating, right? So you've been sworn in, or you've passed, but our department doesn't get sworn in until February.
Wow. I mean, the fact that you take the test and you don't know for months, and then you find out, and then you can't do anything for months on top of that. What is the point?
I don't know.
Okay.
Not very common sense,
No.
but it's probably a New York rule, so that makes sense. That checks out, right?
Yep, check that box.
Yep. Okay. So I went and interviewed with him and got the job that day.
Wow.
So I was super excited. At that time, this was more towards Christmas, and my sister, her husband was military, and we were planning on going to visit them. I said, well, I can't start right now, but I can start, January 2nd. So I started, and I never obviously went and got my advanced law degree. I was with my husband at the time. He was my boyfriend. And I was like, to leave to do what? I like living here. I never would have thought I would have said that, right? Growing up, you always want to move away and go somewhere to a big city.
But you had experienced that.
Yeah.
You had traveled the world, and you'd been in Houston, and so you'd seen other parts.
I was good.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm staying here. I'll let American University know, like, I'm not coming. And I just stayed, and the impact that I felt I was making in Lowville was more than I think I could have ever done if I would have gone into a larger firm or abroad, or worked for a government entity somewhere. So I just, when little old ladies give you a hug because you help them do something,
right,
and that meant
it's
more
more personal.
To me. Yes, I could actually affect change in someone's life on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And
international laws like this faceless wall.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And you actually have people that you can have a conversation with and just help. I didn't know how much weight being an attorney meant in a small town when I first started, because I was, you're just like, well, who am I? I'm a nobody. But when you start calling around, you say, well, I'm an attorney in New York. This is my client. People are like, oh, okay. What? Oh, okay.
So
We have to listen.
Yeah.
So it was,
I hang up. I think you're done.
Attorney, you hang up the phone.
Click.
But it was just kind of odd to me having this, I don't want to say power, because it's not power, but you carry a little bit of weight and authority with you.
Yes.
When you call somebody, even if it's, I'm calling, I need to get like a tax bill for one of my clients. They're selling their house. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll get right on that. I'm like, this is so silly. But
it's fun.
It was fun.
For people to listen to you.
Yeah. But it is just, it's not something I ever took lightly. It's not like I ever, would call and say, well, I'm an attorney. I need this done right now. That's not something I ever thought about doing. It was just more, I'm there to help serve this community. And how do I do that? And it's changing a light bill into the widow's name after her husband passes. I don't know why National Grid does it that way, but they're a pain to deal with, even if someone's name is
Everybody
on the
knows
deed.
That.
It
Sorry,
is silly.
Guys.
I just, little things like that, which it means nothing to us, right? Like it doesn't matter, just keep paying the bill. Well, she doesn't want to see her husband's name every month on a bill.
Yeah.
So it was changing little things like that, helping people out, getting them, proper services or information. So the amount of information that I feel like people just don't have or know how to get is just so immense. Yeah. A lot of times it's veterans, right? Or seniors to get Senior Star, get exemptions on your taxes.
We've made the world too complex.
Yeah,
we really have. I think it's lawyers' fault.
I know. Why are they doing this? The ones
Job
in Albany.
security.
The ones in Albany.
Yeah, it's
Not
those
me.
guys. Yeah, it's not you. Not up in the rural areas.
We're
You guys
just
are
there to
good.
help.
Yeah.
But it has just been
Help y'all.
Help y'all.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say you guys now.
Yeah.
I can't say y'all.
In here you can say y'all. That's what I look for.
But it is just, the difference you make being a small town attorney is just, immense, like immeasurable sometimes, because you don't know how much impact you're actually having on somebody. And I really enjoy just helping people. but it's come to a point now where, so I started out and I had.
So how long did you do that? How long?
So I've been in private practice since the beginning of 2013.
Okay.
And throughout that time, I was also appointed as the court examiner for Lewis County. So it's an appointed position for someone to watch over and have people report to you for what's called Article 81 guardianships. So these are usually adults who have lost mental capacity or physical abilities to be able to care for themselves. So people get appointed either as guardian of property or person or both. And then so I get appointed, they have to report to me once a year to make sure the person has being taken care of. So they've gotten to their doctor's appointments, they've had visits from family, and that their money hasn't been stolen, more importantly.
Only once a year?
Yes.
Seems like not enough oversight. Like I'm asking for more oversight, but from an attorney. No, you didn't hear that, right?
Yes. But it was just something that me being me, you check on those people throughout the year too. Because sometimes they just have questions or like, I didn't even know. I had one lady who had been guardian for several years and she didn't even know she had to report. So, then she's getting nasty grams from the court, from the state. What are you doing? Why aren't you reporting? So it's you're working with them to catch up on all this paperwork.
Sounds like running for office.
Yeah, it's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, I was
a lot
gonna
of
say,
phone calls.
part of elections. Yeah.
Yeah.
You forgot this, you forgot that. Yeah.
So it's just, that was a lot of, I don't want to say fun, but it was a great experience for me. You get to meet people you wouldn't normally meet. You get to protect people who are in an incapacitated state. But I enjoyed my time learning how to do it and learning how to help people. And also making sure people weren't being abused and reporting back to the state. But once I was elected town judge, I could no longer do it. So I had to give up.
How did that come about? How'd you get to be a town judge?
So
Why you had to decide to run, right?
Yes.
All right.
So there was a point in time where the current town judge, so the court I'm in is actually 3 towns. So Harrisburg, Montague, and Pinckney. They combined that court some years ago, and the judge that was sitting there, she didn't want to do it anymore. She had closer private practice, and she was a law clerk for a judge out in Watertown. And just with the drive and the hours, she didn't want to do it anymore. Right. So I had actually approached her. I want to say it was at a Christmas event, and I just said, hey, are you going to run again? Because if you don't run, we have nobody. Because we just don't have a lot of attorneys and we don't have a lot of people interested in running for anything. And she said, no, but I'll make sure to let them know that you're going to run. And I was like, uh-oh.
So the decision was made for you.
Right.
You do a lot of stuff around Christmas,
Yes, I know. Oh, I should not answer my phone or go anywhere.
Yeah.
But I just was like, okay, like that would be great. You know what? If no one else wants to do it, I would have no problem stepping in because it's obviously a needed position and you need somebody who probably has some law background or the ability to kind of handle these cases that are coming in. So I said, sure, why not? So I ran, I won, and I had just had, I think, my 4th child at that time. He's born September 30th, so I had, a few months to kind of recover and then get right back into it.
Before you got into the gym and you had to be the substitute teacher.
Yeah, jeebers. Thank God, never again. But I had, just like so much work to kind of get done, and it was coming off of COVID shutdown as well, so getting the office back opened. And at that time, I had lost Tom Campany from my office. He had retired. So I had taken on a lot more of the managerial aspects of the office, the accounting of the office. A lot of work was kind of on me, and I was teaching a night class at our Jefferson Community College in Watertown, and it was just a lot. I had a lot on my plate, and I was like, what's one more thing? I guess I just won't sleep. So it just kind of went into court, and then I had court, and then I was teaching on so I have court Wednesday nights, and then I was teaching Thursday nights in the spring, and it kind of went that way for a very long time. And then JCC, the course, the head of the business department, kind of decided they wanted one teacher to teach all of the law classes, which did not hurt my feelings because I just had too much on my plate at that time. And then my other partner decided to retire. So then it's just me in this law firm, and myself and one other attorney that lives in Lowville does the same type of work that I do. He doesn't do litigation though. So it was just the two of us kind of doing all of a massive amount of work. No one would think,
How many people do you think were in the area that you kind of touched to represent?
Oh, jeepers.
100,000, 30,000? I mean,
I think I don't know. Just so many. So
just a lot.
A lot. I mean, I would take in around, on average, over 500 new cases a year.
Good. That's a lot.
So if you're thinking two people, that were represent, usually spouses, and then there are two people on the other side, tangentially touching four people for every file, around 2,000-ish per year. It's a lot. It's just so much work that comes in and out of the office. We do estates, and estates touch even more people. So potentially thousands and thousands, the ripple effect that occurs. So
then, because you were bored, you decided to run for judge, right?
Yeah.
Again,
pretty much.
another judge.
Yeah. So
you're totally bored. Didn't want any more kids in the gym.
Yeah, no more gym. And I just decided, when we learned Judge Merrill, so I'd been thinking about it for a while, because there was one seat that I don't think was too much opposed, maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago. And so it kind of got me thinking, and everyone, in the law firm and other attorneys are like, well, you're going to run for this when it comes up, right? And I was just like, oh, maybe, I'll see kind of where I'm at in life at that point in time, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I never thought, everyone thinks about getting a state job, right? Private practice, it's just insane. People don't realize, for small town attorneys, your door, people just walk in every day. It's not like you have a guard sitting on the first floor and you're 10 floors up and they don't get to come in. So for the most part,
which is what a courtroom is if you're a judge. Yes.
You have a little guard.
Yeah.
People don't just get to walk in.
Got to come through a metal detector and all. Yeah.
But people are, they're just coming in. They need help. We need help now. And it's very stressful type of job. And I had been thinking, a lot of people have talked to me about running. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. And then my last partner retired, and I was just like, okay, what's going to happen for Lewis County? I live in the county. I've had 10 years in. I can run. I think there's one other attorney that has 10 years in and could run. Everyone else would age out. So New York State says, I think it's 70. Once you get to 70, you have to take a cognitive test to make sure that you can still be a judge.
I'm screwed.
So it was just, it's like, oh man, it's between me and this other attorney. Like, is he going to run? Maybe I should talk to him. And then I was like, well, what about me? Why have I not considered myself to run for this position? A big part of it, obviously, is that I would have to close my law firm. And
do you have to do that before you make the decision or after you're elected?
After I would be elected.
Okay, all right.
So
that's a good thing.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, in the meantime, you're on the road a lot too.
Correct.
So, yeah.
So the hardest part about this whole race has been having to maintain my same level of work at the office while still, driving 2 hours to any sort of event that occurs. So I've limited my daytime excursion. So this is
a
special.
Daytime. Yeah, I know.
But for the most part, I've been doing everything at night. Traveling when I can, getting things done, and then I usually get home and then do work. So it's like you're up till 1, 2 in the morning making sure the work gets done for the next day, because being the only attorney in the office, I can't rely, there's certain things that your paralegal can and cannot do.
Right.
And I'm very much, I wouldn't even want to make her, my paralegal, be out of her comfort zone doing anything that she wouldn't, even if she could do it, if she doesn't want to, then she shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I've just been trying to maintain my practice. I've stopped taking litigation. I've stopped taking evictions. So like certain things I have stopped taking just because it's more time consuming. But trying to run everything and be everywhere and do everything, that was the hardest decision, because if I do win, I have to shut my practice, and that is leaving, I think, a giant hole. I don't want to ingratiate myself too much that I'm amazing in the town, but it does leave a giant hole within the legal field within our community.
People don't understand, in the rural areas up here, finding attorneys is tough. It
Yes.
really is. I mean, it has been for the city of Little Falls. You know,
Yeah.
because the rules here were saying within the city boundaries was 3.99 square miles. You know, and how many attorneys are here now? It's not that many.
No. And I
So-
mean, I'm even talking the whole county.
Yeah.
We have a handful of attorneys in private practice, and some of them don't do what I do, and I don't do what they do. So it's very hard. And then you'll have a conflict, so you can't take the case. And so I'm shipping it down to Syracuse. I'm putting, down to Utica. And it's obviously very hard for people to be able to hire an attorney, and then instead of maybe just taking a couple hours off to come meet with me, they're ending up taking a whole day off because it's a drive down to Utica. It's meeting a couple hours with the attorney. It's driving back. It's not that easy. So I was like, do I run? If I run, I got to shut down my office. What does that mean for the community? And obviously at the end of the day, I decided making sure that our seat had a local person was more important than having the office be open.
Right. So tell me your coverage area, specifically what the seat is you're running for, and a little bit kind of close it out with like, what has it been like actually running as opposed to having a practice? Tell me the differences.
Sure.
We'll start out with, I want to hear your coverage area.
Okay, so there are 6 counties that are in the 5th Judicial District. So Herkimer County, Oneida, Jefferson, Lewis, Onondaga, and Oswego County. So we go from here, Little Falls, all the way to the lake. Lake Erie, and then in Oswego County as well.
It's a huge area.
It's ginormous. So it's
Not a Texas word.
No. It feels like I'm driving across Texas most of
Yeah.
the time when I'm
Yeah.
trying to get to anything, but it's so large, and it is so hard to try to get the word out, to meet people. So that's, what my main goal is, to try to get, I'd love to knock on every door. I just know it's not possible. If you're running a county race, you could probably do that. But 6 counties is extremely intense, especially the ones,
Yeah.
the land area
Yeah.
is just so much.
I don't even think in one county you could do that. That's a lot of doors.
It
really,
is.
just in a county.
Yes, and if you're in a rural county, it's a lot of driving, right? Because
Yes.
every house is 5 miles away from each other. So it's just, you got to depend on the local towns, the town committees, people who want to join and help you, they join your campaign and they help volunteer, whether they door knock, whether they're just talking to their neighbor. I mean, anything helps, right? So I've had a few events. So running for this position, you have to do a lot of things. Not only with Board of Elections, I had to obviously notify the 5th Judicial District, because I am a sitting judge, that I was running, because as a judge, you're not allowed to engage in any type of election or go to somebody else's fundraiser or do anything like that.
So how do you get around that then?
So when you have to file and say, hey, I'm going to run. So
Right.
if somebody complains to you that I was out doing this, I'm within what's called the window period.
Okay.
So you're allowed within this window period of the election to go out and attend your local, committee meetings. You can go to certain fundraisers, and dependent on cost, you can buy certain things and participate in certain things, but there are a lot of rules around it. So being a sitting judge, that's kind of put a little bit of a damper on other things that you can really do. And obviously I haven't quit my day job, so I'm keeping my office open. I'm also the part-time judge for those 3 towns. And I'm the only judge, but it's a part-time position, I'll say.
And 4 kids.
And I have 4 kids. I'm on call sometimes for cap felony arraignments. So and I said when I run, I said, I'm going to run, but I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to shirk my duties as a town judge. I'm not going to pull myself off the cap schedule. I'm not doing that to my other fellow judges. That's not fair. So I've made sure to fit that into my schedule, because to me, I took on this job, and just because I'm running doesn't mean that I'm not going to do it.
Right. I don't want to see your calendar.
It's not great. We have a big desk calendar right now because my husband is like, I need to see this, so I had
He needs to visualize where are you going to be and what are you doing.
Well, and then you add the kids' soccer schedules,
Yep.
and their play practice and this practice on top of it. And we very much didn't want to limit our children. This isn't their race.
Right.
And so we didn't want to say, no, sorry, you can't be in the play, or you're not playing soccer. So they put all the kids on different teams. So we have 4 different soccer games we go to on the weekend, and I think there's only 2 separate practices. The girls go to practice at the same time. But it is just, we didn't want to limit that.
It's
because
mind-numbing.
Listen, it's not great. My husband tells people we're just white-knuckling it from now till the end of till the election. But it's so much, and you're trying to be everywhere at once, and people are asking you, oh, can you come to the committee meeting? Can you do this? Can you do that? Oh, don't forget, there's a parade that you should probably be in. So now you're making sure that the campaign has candy for the parade, and you're running around. And you're getting people to walk in the parade with you, and you got to have shirts, and everyone's got to have a shirt that fits, and, it's intense.
You have a campaign manager, don't you?
Well, it's my husband now.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
So
Is that who contacted me? Because I don't know.
Yes, probably.
All right. Probably, yeah.
But he kind of took over a few months ago. I wanted to really make sure we were hitting all of the communities because, again, to me, I know probably if I just focused on Onondaga and Oneida County, that my chances would be better. But I want to make sure people here in Herkimer County, in Oswego County, Jefferson, Lewis, they need to know who I am too. If you're going to be a judge for the people, you need to know the people. And they need to know you. No one wants to walk into the courtroom and be like, oh, who's this lady?
Yeah.
Is she going to be mean? Like, what is she about?
Is she going to say all to me?
I know. I should start saying that. Freak some people out,
It
maybe.
would.
Especially up in Montague. But I'm just, that's just kind of been my philosophy. I wanted to get everywhere. So I rearranged my campaign to have almost like a little manager, a campaign manager for every county. That way we would get kind of the pulse on what's going on. Are there events we should go to? Are they worth going to? Because everything is a 2-hour drive from where we are. We're not close to anything, which is fine. That's why we live there. We like it. It's nice, but it's just so much travel. I actually have, it's funny, I called to get an oil change, and I said, okay, I'm going to need one 3 weeks out too, because I'm driving just
and
hundreds.
They're looking at you like,
yeah,
what?
like I'm crazy. And he's like, oh yeah, I forgot. Okay. He's like, yeah, I'll put you in 3 weeks from now too. I'm just like, I just know we're going to put that many miles on both our vehicles. So I drive a truck, which was, we should have bought like a smaller, more efficient car at the beginning. But at the beginning, you're like,
You did, yeah.
won't be that bad. No, it is that bad. And we have a van, obviously, because we have 4 kids and 2 dogs and like all these things. So I was just, it's just been nuts. But I want to make sure I don't leave anything out on the field, right? I don't want to have to look back and say, I wish I would have. Because if you lose and you have that doubt, then it's going to eat you alive. So we're doing everything we can, trying to reach as many people as we can, go to towns. We're going to all these festivals, just meeting people, which is not fun. I don't know about you, but I don't like to just walk up to people I don't know and say hi.
But you're in a parade. You're supposed to be.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. In a parade,
okay.
I feel like people expect it.
All
But
right.
let's say, so Remsen is having their Barn
Fest. Mm-hmm. But what's coming up in Little Falls? We're going to have a test.
Oh, no.
Coming up quickly.
What do you have?
15,000 people here, October 4th.
Well, it's not the Garlic and Herb Fest because
No,
I
that was
at
the
that.
13th.
Yeah.
You were there? I didn't,
Yeah.
Or maybe I did see you. I don't know.
I was here. It was awesome.
Okay.
Bought some garlic.
Cheese festival.
Oh, good.
You
okay.
said cheese.
Yes. I like cheese.
Yeah.
All right. Put it on
There's
my
a lot of
calendar.
cheese here.
Actually, I think it already is on my
It
calendar.
might be, yeah. It's
So-
an awesome event.
Good.
But it's not, I don't know that it's the kind where you walk down the street and shake hands.
Well,
say,
that's the thing. You
"Here's
have
who
to
I am."
go up to people
Yeah.
and just be like, hi, I'm not crazy. Well, I'm a little crazy because I'm running for this
Because I'm
position.
anybody running for office these days is crazy.
You got to be a little crazy.
I didn't say that.
You have to be,
Yeah.
right? Because you're putting yourself out there for basically a popularity contest. And people might not even know you, and they make assumptions about you. So it's like, it is hard. It is hard to run. And I think that's why a lot of people don't run now, especially with social media.
It's gotten very nasty.
Yes. And I know we're seeing a lot of positions in Lewis County that are just, no one's running.
Yeah.
We have town justice positions. People are not running.
Wow.
We just had a judge win. I think he had 3 write-in votes, and he won. And it wasn't him. Someone else had voted put his name in as a write-in, and he was like, okay, sure, for one of our towns. And at least he said sure, right? Or else then we have this problem where a whole
Somebody
town,
wrote him in and he didn't want the job.
that did happen in another town.
Good
She
Lord.
said, the lady said no. So then the town has to do a resolution. We get a neighboring judge to come cover that court if they agree. So it's just, I feel like people aren't wanting to run and put themselves out there because they probably don't have the time, but two, they just don't want to have to deal with people just being nasty or I call them keyboard warriors.
Yep, everybody does.
Yeah, it's just it's not fun. It's not a great environment.
You end up fighting a lot of straw man arguments that waste your time.
Yes.
Because, this, and as soon as they say it, now you're defending something that wasn't true to begin with, and you're like, oh, all right, do I even have time for this?
Right.
So.
Well, I deal obviously a lot with clients, and people are sometimes mad, or people who are unrepresented against my clients. And so I kind of have that capability to talk and maybe diffuse the situation, give a good understanding of what's going on, our perspective, and also an understanding, like, I understand where you're coming from. So I think I am able to talk to people, but when someone isn't willing to listen, it's not worth talking to them. So that's the hard part.
I know. So the position would be, if you win, the election's on the 4th of November, correct?
Yes.
If you win, how long is that position for?
It's for 14 years.
14 years.
Yes. They make it 14 years, I think, so that you don't have to, judges don't have to keep engaging in political activities.
Right.
But two, there's no way I would turn around and do this in 2 years.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Not again. Yeah.
Well, it's so big. And, I think of, I've met several other people who have done a race this big, like, for Lee Stefanik's district, right? So that's 15 counties. And every time I see those guys running, I'm like,
such a huge area.
I only have 6. At least I don't have 15, I guess. But it's just, the district is so big, and there's actually a bill on the governor's desk to remove Onondaga County from our judicial district and add more counties, almost all the way out to Rochester.
Oh, wow.
Which
for that or against that?
Well, I can't really take a position on it as a sitting judge, but I imagine, so you have Mark Rose, right, as your acting supreme here in Herkimer. And I dealt with him, funny enough, on a couple of town issues with roads. And
we were talking roads before we came on the air, yeah.
So he had, I'm just thinking, what if he got put to go hear a case out in that county in the winter?
Oh.
You got to, and you're put there, and you got to go. So I just think of the distance that these Supremes are going to end up traveling in this new district, and it's a lot. That would be my only thought, is like, oof, I'll go, but it's going to take me a while to get there. Like, hope the case doesn't start at 9 a.m., or else you're up at 4 or 5 in the morning.
Or it's an overnight, if you see a storm coming, right?
And then you might not get back.
Yeah.
Then you're there another night, and hopefully you don't have cases in your own court that morning.
Oh, good Lord,
so
what a mess.
The whole travel thing kind of, would be concerning to me. I understand the reasoning behind it. They want to make sure judges are more representative of the population that they cover. And so they're taking Onondaga out. Erie County is getting their own. Albany's getting their own judicial district. Be what it is. Maybe she won't sign it, the governor. Maybe she will. We don't know. But I do know that the rural counties were not consulted on the bill. And so I know a lot of people are up in arms about it, but I'm sitting there traveling between all these counties right now thinking, oh, man, that'd be a ways to go in the morning and then at night. But, I'll do it. And I'd hopefully would sit in Lewis if I won, because our judge is retiring and I live there. But they could put me in another county too.
Oh, wow. That'd be wild.
Yeah.
Well, any place people can find more information about you? Do you have a website?
I do. Yes.
What is it?
It's actually electjudgerandall.com, and that has more information about me, some fun pictures of the kids, I think, on there. Events that I've gone to, events I'm going to, ways to sign up to volunteer. I think it has everything on there. And then the Facebook page is the same as well. So you
Okay.
can follow along. I hate social media, but
You got to be there.
I've been sucked back into it. So we're doing our best.
Got to be there.
Yeah, it's a lot, but obviously I'm willing to do it, and mainly doing it to make sure our community has a local person. So
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on the show today.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it
All
as
right.
well.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next time on Small Town Life.